Hey, this is Andrew Brown. In this video, we're going to take a look at how to trigger an event manually. For this one, we are going to need some type of compute, as I don't believe that we can trigger the event manually via the UI, but we will see what we can do, okay? Just in case we actually can. I think when they say triggering manually via the UI, it might be from one of the predetermined templates. But what we'll do here is we'll launch up GitHub Codespaces. It's been a little bit of time since I've used it. I usually like using Gitpod, but since this is a GitHub course, let's use GitHub Codespaces. And so I'm going to go ahead and create one on main. There are free tiers for this. If you don't want to use this, you can use your local machine. I just want my life to be easy, and I want to have a replicable environment that you can utilize as well. So I'll wait for Codespaces to spin up, and then we will make sure that we are authenticated. I can't remember if it comes pre-installed with the GitHub CLI, but we'll find out here in just a moment, okay? All right, so we have our Codespaces up here. I do not like this light theme. I can barely see what I'm looking at. So I'm gonna just go ahead and change this out. It never seems to persist, which is one thing I don't like about GitHub Codespaces. But other than that, everything's fine. We'll just choose a dark theme. Does not matter which one. And so my question is, do we have here terminal size, increase that, and I'll go back to command palette here. You think by now I know these hotkeys. Control Shift P, Control Shift P, no, Control Shift P. I'm on a Windows machine with a Mac keyboard in a browser. Like, what could it be? But we'll go here and try to just increase this font size again, and again, and again, so you can just see what's going on here. But I want to see if the GitHub CLI is installed. It looks like it is. Am I logged in? I don't know. I would think so. I can't exactly remember what the test command is. Let me take a look here and see. What we could do. I really don't remember. We say gh issue list. Maybe that is a command. Yeah, so I'm already logged in. So this is perfect. If you're not logged in, I believe somewhere in here we have the login instructions. Somewhere in here. I remember seeing it. There is somewhere in here. Let me just find it for you. I think it's in the crash course. It's CLI. Whoops. Oh, this doesn't use Vim mode. Yeah, here it is. So like there's instructions, and it's not hard to install, but again, this comes pre-installed, so you're going to figure that out yourself, if you're using a local machine. But what I want to do is I want to have that installed so that we can trigger the workflow. So what we'll do is go into GitHub Actions, and in here we have templates, and we should have one for manual. There we go. Let's take a look at it first before we do anything. It's going to increase the font here. So we have workflow dispatch, and we have the inputs for name. So here's the description, and this one is required. We have greeting, and that is required, and then some data. Now, I guess we could do this and have a data file. I don't really want to have a data file, but if it needs it, I guess I should do that. So what I'm going to do is make a new file here, and I'm going to call this data.json. And I'll just say in here, hello, Mars. All right. And so that will, I suppose, be our data file. We'll go back here. And I just want to make sure everything makes sense and if it references things clearly. So I think that is fine. I'm not sure what the data file should be. I'm just going to take a look at my slides, as I don't really remember what we pass into there. I guess it's actually just a text file. But in this one particular, it's a base64 thing. So what we'll do is I'm going to change this. Let's just say my data, and I'm going to get some data, and we'll take this here, for example, copy this, and we'll base64 encode it. So I think it's, what is it? Base64 encode, Linux, because I can't remember what the command is. I'm pretty sure the command is base64. Yeah, it's something like that. So I'm going to go here, copy this, we'll go back. I could barely read that. But that says this here. We'll just say hello Mars in here. Hello Mars. And so that's going to give us this value here. I'm going to just copy that if I can. Copy. And then we'll replace this and paste. And so now we have our base64. Some other things that are going on in here is that, nothing interesting, but this is just using, you can see the base64 commands and things like that. So I guess we have our file and all that stuff is set up. So I think we're in good shape. Let's go ahead and copy this. And I will go up to our GitHub Actions, our GitHub folder here. I'm going to go paste that in. And you know what? Just so that you don't necessarily have this, I'm going to go ahead and just refresh this here for a moment. I guess that's fine. I never saved this file, I don't think, so maybe it doesn't matter. This one's untracked, manual, trigger. Let me go back here for a second. So this one here is the same. I guess we never changed anything about this file. Sorry. I thought I changed something about the file, and so I was just trying to make it so that I wasn't taking out all the learning out of it here, okay? But anyway, so that file's there. Let's go ahead and commit this. So let's just say manual workflow. I know I spelled it wrong. I don't care. If it bothers you, tough luck. And so that should be synced. We'll go back over to here. We'll give this a refresh. And so I'm looking under our actions, and I want to see that that is here. So it's here. Notice because it has the name parameter. So it says this workflow has a workflow dispatch. And, oh, we can run it. So I wasn't 100% certain because I couldn't find it before, but I guess it's right here. But how would it run this line? So say, hello, you. I don't know what it wants there. We'll run the workflow. And those two ones are required. So we'll wait and see what happens. Okay. And let's see the contents of the file. So notice that it just says contents of the file because there was no file to be passed along. But let's go ahead and now trigger this manually. So I think I might have in here have the command so we don't have to look for it. Here it is. And so we have GitHub workflow run greet YAML. This file is not called greet though. It's called manual. And the file is called my data. And so I'm going to copy this line here. And what I want to do is cd into the correct directory because I'm going to assume that it's relative. Otherwise, it's not going to find the file. And so we'll go ahead and paste that in here and hopefully it will work. Could not create workflow dispatch, resource not accessible by integration. All right, so it's not letting us do it. This could be a permissions issue, so let me go take a look, okay? Yeah, so there might be a workflow permission. So what we're gonna do is go over to here, go to settings, and on the left-hand side, we'll go down to actions, into general, and here it says allow all actions and reusable workflows. Any action or reusable workflow can be used regardless of who authored it or where it's defined. Any action or reusable workflow defined in the repo with exam pro can be used. Any action or reusable workflow that matches the specified criteria. So, I mean, this is fine, the actions permissions, but then we have workflow permissions. So it says choose the default permissions granted to the GitHub token, which automatically gets passed. We learn about that later on, that it already gets passed during the run. But when running workflows in the repository, you can specify more granular permissions. Workflows have read and write permissions. Okay. Workflows have read permissions in repository for content. So it makes me think that maybe we don't have permission. So I'm going to go back over to here. And what we'll do, type in clear and type in GH. Because there probably is a way to add permissions. Just give me a moment to find out, okay? I didn't get any answers, but I'm going to just assume that we don't have permission to do that. Let's go back and take a look. I'm going to try this again and look at the command. Because usually the status code will indicate it says 403, resource not accessible by integration. So 403, that's not authorized, right? Oh, it is forbidden. Okay. So if it is a forbidden one, then likely that issue is the GitHub token. So I want to see if there is a GitHub token here. So I'm just going to type in $GitHub token. I'm not worried if you see it because it doesn't really matter. It's going to get replaced every time. I think they are short-lived. And so what we'll do is we will need to go into our account And I'm looking for that token. So we'll go to settings. And then somewhere here, it's going to have access tokens, usually developer settings. And so we have personal access tokens. So we have fine grained or classic. Kind of like the classic because it's easier to use, but we use fine grained because we're supposed to. We'll generate a new token here. And I got to log in, so give me a moment to authenticate. All right, so we'll have to create a token. This will be for workflows. Workflow token. I want this to expire literally tomorrow. Whatever the date is, we'll say tomorrow. Lets us use workflows. And so yeah, public repos, read only. I'm going to say for only select repos. This will be for the GitHub examples. Oh, I got to switch this over to Exam Pro Co. Why can't I switch to my other one here? I mean, I am the resource owner, so that makes sense. And I'll try this again. So let's say Exam Pro Co. What the heck? And I'm trying to get that token. Maybe I can't create a token because it's in an org. Give me a second. See, I'm not 100% certain, but what I'm going to do is just say, but I need more than read only. I could say all repos. It's not really what I want. And then we'll go to repository permissions. And what I'm looking for here is workflows, which is down below here. So I think because I have this in an organizational account, it's making it a little bit harder for me to do this. So what I'm going to do, just for this one, I really didn't want to do this, but I'm just going to fork this. So I'm going to create a fork. Yep, and we'll do copy the main branch exactly. And what I'm going to do here is I'll have to get out of this. So I'm just going to close this out. And I can get this out of here and this out of here. And so I'm going to try this again. So what I'll do is I'll give this a refresh. And I want to open this up in Codespaces again. Now for my last one, I want to make sure that other one's still not running. So I'm going to go back to my original one here. Yeah, see, they're still running. I'm just going to go ahead and I can't tell what's what now. This one is Reimagine Sniffle. So this is my old one. I'm going to go ahead and delete this. And we'll wait for this new one to open. And while that is going, did I open this in the right repo? See, now I don't know. Okay, I'm going to close this one out. Sorry, I'm getting confused. I'm going to go here and I'm going to stop this one as well, delete it. And I want to go over to the Omen King repo, which is my personal. And I'm going to try this again. I'm going to go ahead and open in Codespaces. And then I'm going to go back over to here. I'm going to go to settings, since that repo now exists. I'm going to create that personal access token specifically for this one. I'm going to go with fine-grained permissions, even though they're not that fun to create. And so I'll wait for that to open. And while that's opening, I'm going to generate this token. We'll say workspaces token. Let me run workspaces. Another thing I'm wondering is that maybe because that's an organizational account that I might not been able to do that, whereas in a personal account, I might have been able to do that no problem. So before I generate this out, I will want to trigger this first. So what we'll do is we'll wait for this to run here and then we'll try to run it, okay? All right, so this environment's launched up. And so what we'll do is go over back to our GitHub Actions. I'm going to cd into that directory. And what I need to do here is I need to run this file. So go ahead and paste this in, allow. And again, the workflow here is called manual. This is fine. The only thing that's changed is the data file. So it's called my data. And let's see what happens. So it says no default repo has been set for this directory. Okay, that's fair enough. GH repo set default. Omen King. There we go. I was confused because there's two different ones. And so now we have a 404 because I spelt it wrong. And I realize the font is small. Let me just bump it up so you can see what's going on here. So say manual enter. Still a 404. Oh, you know, because in this repo, I don't think we copied it over here, did we? No, it is right here. M-A-N-U-A-L. 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 Let's go back over to here. Let's go into our actions. There's nothing in here. So I have to enable it, I guess, by default. Maybe that's the reason why I didn't see it for the first time. And so we have some in here. So I don't want this and this in here. So I'm just going to get them out of here, as I just don't want them to trigger. I'll just push those changes. Okay, so push those, just so we're only dealing with one here. Okay, yeah, sync it. Push it. Come on, you can do it. There we go. And we'll refresh this. So now we only have the one, right? So we'll go back and hit up and try this again. And so now it says 403. So we're still getting a 403. So that makes me think that we need a token. So I'm going to make a token to have it expire tomorrow. I'm going to select this particular repo now. And we'll say GitHub examples. We'll go to here. We'll scroll on down. We'll say read and write for workflows. Whatever the default is, I'd like to know what it is. This is what I don't like about this. It's like it should just tell us. Well, hold on. We have update GitHub workflow files. That's actually not what we want to do. We want to run this, but I'll put it on there anyway because we're doing workflows. It says workflows, workflow run artifacts. So it's actually this that we want. It's this that we want. I mean, that's all I really want. So I don't know if I need anything else, to be honest. We'll go count permissions. Everything else seems fine. I'm going to generate this token. And so I have this token, and we're going to go over to here, and I'm going to go and set it. I'll just say export GitHub token, and we'll go and paste it in like this. I'm going to make sure it's there. So env grep GitHub. And we can see the token is here, 1111AA. Yeah, it looks the same, more or less, I think. 11K on the end, yes. And so now we'll go ahead and try and run this and see if that fixes our issue. And now it runs. Okay, so that's what it needed, needed the permissions. And apparently we can see the run from here. Might as well try it. If it will let us grab it, enter. And so we can see the run in its current state. Oh, I ran it twice. Oh boy, I'm not even doing what I thought I was doing anymore. Okay, great. We'll refresh this so it ran twice, which is fine. But we can see that it triggered. We'll click into this. And I'm going to just expand this here. And I'm really interested in this one to see if it converted out the contents of the file. And it did not. Oh no, it's right here. Hello Mars. Never mind. It worked. Great. So this one is great. We'll go here to actions. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell this to disable, even though this would only trigger in a manual event. And so we'll call this one done. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this workspace. So we'll go to code here. And I want to go ahead and say stop. Well, we'll just delete it because I don't need it anymore. And I will see you in the next one, okay? Ciao.